Oh, there's really not a whole bunch different. They're very talented. Wheeler at the point guard is just a dynamic player. Can score the basketball, can pass the ball. She leads that team. The ball's in her hands a lot, but she's not just a high volume shooter. She's a willing passer as well. So, and I love the speed she plays at. She's out there playing hard the entire time. I mean, if you just look at their team, it's pretty impressive when you look at the minutes played for their starting five. It's their championship game, I think it was 40 minutes, 40, 40, 39, and 37. And then one player played 3 off the bench. That's it. And it's not like they're playing a 2-3 zone. They're not walking the ball up the floor. They're pushing transition. They're attacking. They're playing hard. They've got great size at the 5. And number 2, the junior, she played really well against us last year. She's an international player. And then you've got Scott, who shoots a 3, not as much as the rest of them, but great at putting the ball on the ground and getting to the basket. She defends extremely well too. And then Gregory, it's fascinating because of what she gets done. She can pass the basketball. You got to guard her. She's taken 320 shots, 246 of them are threes. So it's like 74 or whatever, 84 shots that aren't. It's 74 shots that aren't threes. And only nine of those are mid-range shots. So it's either a 3 or she's going to attack the basket. But she's very effective. She guards well also. And then Whitson, who comes in like their 4 player, stretches the floor. 231 of her 298 total attempts are threes. So they spread you out. Everyone knows what they have to do and what they're good at. Now it's a matter of, are we able to go out there and make things difficult for them at the offensive end? And then we have to score the ball as well.
How much can you or do you hope to rely on depth? I mean, because like you said, they play a ton of minutes. You kind of rotate some kids in and out. Will depth be a factor?
Well, if you can get them in some type of foul trouble. Depth is not going to be a factor. They're in great shape. The conditioning side of those young ladies is impressive. You watch them on film, and they go. They're not walking the ball up the floor. It's not like they're in a full court press the entire time, but once you get in the half court, I mean, they're out the 9 on the wings, they're scrambling, they're flying around. So depth only becomes an issue if you get them in any type of foul trouble.
Kind of touched upon, too, on their team. She walked away with USA Defensive Player of the Year. What kind of stands out to you specifically about her?
Well, she's their all-time shot blocker. I mean, if you look at, their record books, she blocks shots extremely well. She's very patient around the basket. She does a good job of getting position in the post. She likes to catch the ball. The mid-post, low block. She's not afraid to put the ball on the ground. A lot of up and under, spin moves. Just very efficient. And then she will step out. Like, you have to guard her. You can't not guard her at the 3 because she will step out if she's wide open. And, she shoots 47% on 15 made threes. So it's not like she's looking to pick and pop, but you have to respect her for that.
Jeff, you've had so much success in the first weekend of the tournament when you've had your best teams and when you've had teams maybe you did have questions going into it. What's been the formula during your time as far as the first weekend of the tournament?
Well, it's going to be how we defend. It's one thing that we've always done here in tournament time. We put in plan A, plan B, and plan C. If we go to plan D, we got problems, because they are that good. I mean, they're 29-4 for a reason. They won, on a neutral floor versus a good Tennessee team. You've got to play your best, and we know that. So for us, we've got to defend. We can't give them easy baskets, and then we can't turn the ball over 20 times. If we do, we're not going to win. And I've talked to our kids about that. I've tried to explain it to them. We've worked on it in practice. You got to value the pass. You can't float passes, and you can't just sling it off the dribble. You got to come to a jump stop. We've had some players here in the past, Shoney, Durr, Dana, who could make passes off the bounce. Make a behind-the-back pass. We're not there right now. So it's like I've tried to, it's not a negative. But if we're not doing it well, stop doing it. So for us, we have to keep it simple. And if we can just come to a jump stop, pass fake, we're shooting 45, 46% from the field as a team. Our field goal percentage is fantastic. But the problem is we're turning the darn thing over too much in the past month. Show it to them on film over and over and over. Now it's a matter of, are we going to take what we've been working on and transfer it into a game?
Seems like this time of year, Olivia's done well. 2 years ago, the Michigan game last year, I think she had a career high in rebounding against Iowa. What is it about her that just kind of rises to those occasions and those moments?
Well, she's played in these big games. She understands what's at stake. She understands how important execution is. Knowing your defensive assignment, knowing where you're supposed to be on the floor at the offensive end. You've got to get the 50-50 balls. If there's a loose ball, you can't stare at it. You got to be willing to dive on the floor. O's willing to do those things. So hopefully with her experience, and she's been practicing well, that we'll see that carry over for Friday.
For players that haven't played in March Madness yet, kind of like Jada Curry comes to mind, how do you treat this week of practice maybe a little differently for them, or is it kind of the same? Because, this whole year you've been trying to get them comfortable with the ACC. Now this is just another new thing.
No, it's basketball. It's not like the game has changed. But we are going to make sure that the kids enjoy it, which we've always done here. And I said that the other day at my radio show, I believe. We're very fortunate that this is our 13th straight year of playing in it. It's expected around here, expected to do well. But the one thing I'll say is we're never going to take it for granted. So we're going to make sure the Jadas, the Sids, the Kikis, Alif, Henny, everybody that this is their first one, that we make sure that we don't just take things for granted and go down. It's just another game. It's not just another game. It's the NCAA tournament. It's what makes this time of year so exciting. So we're going to enjoy the process. We're going to make sure that we have a great trip. At the same time, it is a basketball game. The court hasn't stretched. The rims aren't higher, still a round ball. So we're not going to change that aspect of anything. Now, we do understand the importance of the urgency of playing every single play.
What do you mean by that in terms of enjoy it? Going down there and looking around Baton Rouge or?
Well, no, making sure we're going down. We're chartering down. We're going to go out to eat tonight. We're on a regular road trip. You normally just eat in the hotel. But you fly in there, you get in at 6, you go to the hotel, you eat, you watch a little film, you go to bed, you wake up, shoot around, play the game, and fly home. Now we have media down there tomorrow. We've got a 90-minute practice on the court. We'll go to auxiliary gym and practice. But we'll make sure that they get the experience of the NCAA tournament. So that's what I mean by that. So we'll take them out to eat tonight and go to a restaurant. Yeah.
Jeff, when you look at each team's style of play and the individual matchups, what do you think is the biggest difference between the previous matchup with Middle Tennessee State and this one?
Well, they kicked our ass. It was plain and simple. So we did not play well. We were not playing well at that time. And they played with urgency. And it's what I've been trying to explain to our kids. You've got Louisville across your chest. We played in 5 straight Elite Eights. We've been to 2 Final Fours in that stretch. So we're a pretty big game. But we have to understand you have to come out, and middle, to me, is a really big game. I've got to make sure, and I have, our kids are quite aware of it after watching film, how talented they are. So it's more so, it's not about last year's team. It's about what can we do this year with what we have, and how are we going to try to attack what they do. So for us, I've got the utmost respect for what Rick and his staff and his players, are all about. They've had a great program for years. And now it's a matter of getting us prepared to play. I say it all the time. It's, when we were at Nebraska, I used to do our scheduling there. I scheduled Wisconsin Green Bay to come in. And everybody's like, oh, who's Wisconsin Green Bay? Are they any good? Now I could go schedule a Power 5 team that's got a great football program and their women's basketball team might be terrible. But they think the football team's coming to play. So it's like, oh my God, the whole crowd comes out. We win by 20. You play Wisconsin Green Bay and you lose by 6, and it's like, oh man, my team must be terrible. It's because people don't know women's basketball. Middle is a program that's been really, really good for years. They're 29-4. I was surprised that they were actually an 11 seed. With the wins they've had, I thought they had earned a higher seed. So we're quite aware of how good they are. Now, everybody else might not be, but we're not overlooking them one bit, and we know we're going to have to play our best.
Jeff, given all that and the fact that they are pretty familiar with you and your program, as tough a first-round opponent as you guys have faced?
Without a doubt. Drake in last year's tournament, I've said it for the past few years. We have a ball club here that could lose in the first round. And we have a ball club here that I think we could get to the second weekend again. And then once you get there, anything can happen. But we have to be playing our best. And we've got to have everyone dialed in on a defensive game plan and what we're trying to get done at the offensive end. But middle is very, very good. We've played as a 6 or 7 seed. We played Vanderbilt the one year, who was really good. We've had a lot of really good first round opponents. Now it's just our time to focus on middle and see what we can do on Friday.
A lot of teams have issues with turnovers. This late in the year, is it still something that can be corrected? And when you look at it, is it from carelessness or is it from people trying to do too much, or what's usually the
It's
the
lack
cause?
of focus. Right now, when we look at the film and we show our team, and we're like, because I'll pull out of our 23, 24 turnovers the last few ball games, I'll pull out 10 of them and just be like, hey, that's just a bad. You went to drive and it bounced off your foot. It happens. But then we've had 5 straight games where we've turned the ball over, throwing it inbounds after a made basket. That's careless. That's lack of focus. We've had at least 4 or 5 where we just catch and turn to throw a reverse pass and don't even look at where the defense is, and we literally throw it right to them. Those are lack of focus and carelessness. Those are the ones we have to fix. And we've really worked on it the past week and a half. So I'm hoping that we'll see progress on Friday. Because if we can cut these turnovers down to 12 or 13, and all of a sudden now we're getting 9 or 10 more shots, it's shooting 46%, you're looking at 8 to 10 more points a game. And it might not seem like a lot, but that's a lot. When you're looking at the scores of our games, the losses that we've had, it's the difference between a win and a loss.
What do the players say when you tell them that? Do they see it, or?
Oh, well, it's hard not to. Like I tell them, when you throw it to somebody and they're wearing the other color and then they go that way, then obviously they, it's like, that's not your teammate. So we are that far along. We do know who's on our team. But it's like, I tell them all the time, and you can watch it. So many players, instead of looking at the defense, they look at the offensive player. And that's the same thing as when you're watching teams within an offense. You'll see someone go and double a post. And you'll see that offensive player just stand there. Because they're so focused on the ball that they're not paying attention to the person that's guarding them. So I always tell our kids, I don't care what we're running. If we're in a set and we're in action and you see that your defender is staring at the ball, just make a back cut to the basket. You're going to shoot a layup. But the problem is we stare at the ball and we stare at our teammate. So when I go to make a ball reversal pass, I see my teammate. I'm just not paying attention that the defender's only a foot away. So, yeah, she's open, but when I make the pass, she's not going to be open. So that's what we've really been trying to work on is you've got to be able to see the defender before you make a pass, before you make a cut. And it's gotten better. And now it's just a matter of how much better we going to get. And middle does a great job of flying around. Like you watch them on film, they have great help. You've got to be able to tack and get off the ball. And when somebody's open, you got to be willing to shoot it when you're open. The worst thing you can do is pass up an open shot thinking you're going to get a better shot. So we have really worked on that as well. Like when you're open, you have to shoot the ball. So that was never a problem for me.
Any progress in allowing the fine players for turnovers yet?
No, everybody got their feelings hurt. You know, not my players. They all know my sarcasm. But man, I'm telling you, there's some screwed up people out there. I mean, the stuff they'll send you by email, and it's classic. Now, I do love the ones that will send me stuff and like, oh, so you want to fine players for their performance. You should get fined for your performance. And I'm like, well, we do. Like, if we don't win, it's called getting fired. So, like, it is crazy. Now, we do get judged on our performance. I mean, it's you know, so some of these questions, I'm like, in responses, I'm like, you might not want to hit send. You might want to have someone proofread that. I have fun with it. I say it all the time. All of your stuff's crap. But see, I normally edit it before I read it, you know, so then it sounds how I want it, you know. That's Eric's job. No, so it's been great. It's fun. And now my wife always laughs. She's like, just stop. You know, but it's fun to get people riled up. You know, because, man, they're suckers for everything. When you sit next to Jada and I'm at that press conference and I'm like, that'd be $2,000 for you, babe. And she's like, and she's like, that's a lot of money. And she's laughing. Like, but see, most people that can read the transcript. You know, and then they don't see the exchange that's taking place. So I have fun with it.
I mean, you mentioned 13 in a row. I mean, do you still have fun with this? Do you get nervous about it at this point?
I love it. I absolutely love it. This is an exciting time of the year. Speaking of my wife, it's an exciting time of the year for all of us. I mean, now you've had a chance when the draw comes out, see who you're playing. You go back, you get to watch film, you get to look at things, where are the matchups. You know, in middle's great. They're really well coached. They're going to do some really good things. So it's fun when you're out there and you know we're just not going to be able to do one thing the whole game. You know, if we have some success doing something, Rick's going to do something different on the defensive side to try to stop that. So then you've got to try and counter it. You know, that's what's fun for me. And then it's fun also when you see players that haven't had the opportunity to play in this. And especially now with the transfer portal, you know, you get players that have never played in post-season play in the NCAA tournament that are getting to do it for the first time and their last time. So yeah, it's a lot of fun.
Jeff, I hate to ask this, but I have to ask. You've obviously heard the Kentucky rumors. You made the comment on the radio yesterday. Did it surprise you when you heard stuff like that on Twitter?
Any clown can put whatever they want on social media. I'm not calling y'all clowns, but there are several, and I've learned. I love from a good source. You know, I'm like, well, who in the hell's your source? Because when it came out, I'd honestly flown up with Coach Brom and his son and a few other people to the men's game. And I'm sitting there at the men's game, and Brady goes, hey, is this true? I go, what? I'm like, Kentucky. I'm like, oh, I've been with you the whole day. Like, I'm like, these people can put whatever they want up on social media. And it doesn't matter. And that's kind of what the problem is with it, in my opinion. And so many people won't put their name on things. You know, they've got a account, but you don't know who it is. And then you can say whatever you want about, not just about things like this, but about players as well. You know, and it's sad in some ways. But no, nobody's contacted me. I've said it all along. I've been here for 17 years. You know what? I plan to retire here or I plan to get fired here. It's one of the two, and I've said it for years. If we don't win, if we haven't had the success that we've had, you'd never hear my name, I promise you. You know, if we were winning 16 games a year and I was just surviving, to keep my job. Nobody's going to sit there and say, hey, oh, he'd be a candidate for this job. So I blame our players for being so good. It's kind of like when my assistants have had the opportunities to get jobs. Like when Sam Purcell came down to tell the team 2 years ago that he had gotten the Mississippi State job before the NCAA tournament, our kids were crushed. They were devastated, because they love Sam. Same thing with Michelle when she was here, and Sam Williams, all of them. And after Sam, they all talked to him, and then I'm like, well, ladies, can I be honest? They're like, yeah, it's your all's fault. And they look at me, I'm like, if you had lost, instead of being, 26-4, if we were 4-26, no one would have called about him. So then I'm explaining to him, like, Sam and his family are getting this opportunity because of what you all did. You guys helped Sam become a head coach. And that's what it's all about. So, it's to me, I don't even know who puts it out there. So I can't even say it's flattering because I don't even know if they have any clue what basketball is. And I love when I read people say a Power 5 coach is going to get the job. Well, that's a stretch. Boy, we're really going out on a limb here now. Maybe you could put down a current head coach is going to get the UK job. Wow. Okay, maybe not. But so it's comical. I have to laugh at it. Anybody else with anything? I appreciate everybody. Thank y'all.